The terrible fate of Don Mattingly led him into an injury that almost took his life. In a terrifying accident, he almost died after breaking his back, a moment that could have changed everything. The sport he loved, the game that defined his life, came shockingly close to taking it away. It's wild how fate works sometimes. Back in the late 1980s, he suffered a back injury that some say happened because of a clubhouse incident. That injury changed everything. It hurt his performance on the field and raised serious concerns about his long-term health. But despite the warning signs, the Yankees still signed him to a massive contract extension. At the time, it seemed like a great move, but as his numbers started to dip, that deal became a hot topic of debate. But his struggles didn't stop there. When he moved into managing, he faced his fair share of criticism. Fans and analysts often questioned his decisions, especially when it came to handling the bullpen. Some felt that his choices with pitching changes made things even tougher for his teams, leading to frustrating losses. Still, none of those disappointments compare to the biggest heartbreak of all. Mattingly has never been elected to the Hall of Fame. Despite an incredible career and a stretch where he was one of the best players in the game, he hasn't gotten the call. Some argue that his peak years were good enough to earn him a spot, while others say his short prime and lack of post-season success are why he's been left out. It's a debate that continues to fire up baseball fans to this day. No matter the debates, one thing's for sure: he played the game like a true pro. His journey to the big leagues wasn't exactly smooth sailing. In the 1979 Major League Baseball draft, he had to wait all the way until the 19th round before hearing his name called by the New York Yankees. Part of the reason he slipped so far was because his father, Bill Mattingly, had told teams that Don planned to stick to his college commitment and wouldn't be signing a professional contract. But Don had other plans. He wasn't interested in going to college. His dream was to play professional baseball. So when the Yankees came calling, he jumped at the opportunity, signing with them for a $23,000 bonus. From there, he began his climb through the Yankees minor league system, starting with the Oneonta Yankees in the Class A short season New York Penn League in 1979. He set high expectations for himself, even hoping to bat .500, so when he ended up hitting .349, he actually felt disappointed. That just showed the kind of competitor he was. The following year, in 1980, he played for the Greensboro Hornets in the Class A South Atlantic League and took his game to another level. He led the league with an incredible 358 batting average and recorded a league-best 177 hits. His stellar performance earned him the League MVP award and a well-deserved spot on the postseason All-Star team. He continued to prove himself in the minors, moving up to the Double-A Nashville Sounds in 1981, where he hit .316 and led the Southern League with 35 doubles. His talent didn't go unnoticed, and he was selected for the Southern League All-Star Game and earned a spot on the postseason All-Star team. Year after year, he kept proving he was one of the best pure hitters in the minor leagues. But not everyone was convinced he had what it took to be a star in the majors. Some within the Yankees organization were concerned about his lack of speed and power. In fact, his manager at Greensboro, Bob Schaefer, even considered moving him to second base, where he would have to throw right-handed. But Mattingly kept letting his bat do the talking. By 1982, he had reached the Triple-A Columbus Clippers in the International League, where he continued to rake, batting .325. That performance was enough to get him his first shot at the majors late in the 1982 season. He had also earned a postseason All-Star selection in the International League and finished third in MVP voting. He made his big league debut on September 8, 1982, stepping onto the field as a late-inning defensive replacement against the Baltimore Orioles. A few days later, on September 11th, he got his first career at bat against the Milwaukee Brewers, but ended up popping out to third base in the 7th inning. It was not until October 1st, in a game against the Boston Red Sox, that he recorded his first major league hit. It was a clutch moment in the bottom of the 11th inning when he lined a single to right field off pitcher Steve Crawford. That first hit was a small glimpse of what was to come, but during that short stint in 1982, he only managed 2 hits in 12 at-bats. The following year, in 1983, he spent his rookie season as a part-time first baseman and outfielder. He got a bit more playing time and put up solid numbers, hitting 283 and 279 at-bats. That season also brought another milestone when, on June 24th, he crushed his first career home run off Red Sox pitcher John Tudor. As he continued developing, it became clear that Mattingly was something special. By 1984, he had earned his spot as the Yankees' full-time first baseman, and that was the year he truly announced himself as one of the best hitters in baseball. He tore through opposing pitching, finishing the season with an incredible 339 batting average. His performance was good enough to earn him a spot as a reserve in the All-Star game, but the real excitement came at the end of the season when Mattingly and his teammate Dave Winfield were locked in a dramatic race for the American League batting title. Heading into the final game of the season, Mattingly trailed Winfield by just 0.002 points. The pressure was on, and Mattingly delivered. He went 4 for 5 at the plate while Winfield struggled, going 1 for 4. When the dust settled, Mattingly had won the batting title with a .343 average, while Winfield finished just behind him at .340. That year, Mattingly also led the league in hits with 207, smashed a league-leading 44 doubles, and hit 23 home runs. He was second in the league in slugging percentage and had one of the best contact rates in baseball, striking out just once every 18.3 at-bats. If 1984 was his breakout season, then 1985 was his masterpiece. He was an absolute force at the plate, winning the American League MVP award. He batted .324 and finished with 35 home runs, 48 doubles, and an incredible 145 runs batted in. That RBI total was the highest by a left-handed hitter since Ted Williams drove in 159 back in 1949. He led the league in total bases and extra base hits, while also driving in runs at a pace few had seen in years. His dominance was undeniable, and it was clear that he had become the heart and soul of the Yankees. But he was not just about offense. That year, he also won his first of 9 Gold Glove awards, proving that he was just as valuable defensively as he was with a bat in his hands. He followed up his MVP season with another incredible year in 1986. He led the league with 238 hits and 53 doubles, setting new franchise records that had stood since 1927. He also hit 31 home runs and drove in 113 runs. Despite putting up historic numbers, he finished second in MVP voting behind Roger Clemens, who had put together a dominant season as a pitcher. In 1987, he put his name in the record books again. He tied a major league record by hitting home runs in 8 consecutive games, a streak that had only been done once before and was later tied by Ken Griffey Jr. in 1993. But Mattingly did not stop there. During that same stretch, he set another record by hitting an extra base hit in 10 consecutive games. He also set a single-season record by hitting 6 grand slams, a feat that would not be matched until 2006 by Travis Hafner. What made that record even more unbelievable was that those were the only grand slams of his entire career. Despite all the success, 1987 was also the year when Mattingly's back problems first became a concern. Rumors swirled that he injured himself in the clubhouse while goofing around with pitcher Bob Shirley, though both players denied it. The back issues did not seem to slow him down much at first. In 1988, he still hit .311 with 18 home runs and 88 RBIs. The following year, he bounced back with 113 RBIs, but his batting average dipped slightly to .303. Then, in 1990, everything changed. His back problems flared up worse than ever, and his performance suffered. He struggled so much at the plate that by mid-season, he had to go on the disabled list. When he returned late in the season, he was not the same player. He finished with a career-low 256 batting average, hit just 5 home runs, and drove in only 42 runs in nearly 400 at-bats. The numbers were shocking for a player who had been one of the best hitters in the game just a few years earlier. Determined to keep playing, he went through extensive therapy in the offseason. Though he was able to return, he was never quite the same hitter. Over the next 5 seasons, he still hit for a solid average, but his power had faded. He became more of a slap hitter, hitting just 53 home runs in his final 5 years. There was a brief glimpse of his old power in 1993 when he hit 17 home runs and drove in 86 runs, but by then, the Yankees were no longer championship contenders. Mattingly had spent his entire career waiting for a chance to play in the postseason, and in 1995, he finally got his shot. The Yankees made the playoffs as a wild-card team, and in his only postseason series, he did not disappoint. He batted .417 with 6 RBIs and delivered a go-ahead home run in Game 2, sending Yankee Stadium into a frenzy. In his final game, Game 5 against the Seattle Mariners, he came up clutch once again, breaking a tie with a 2-run double. Unfortunately, the Yankees bullpen could not hold the lead, and Seattle won in extra innings, ending his dream of a championship. After the 1995 season, the Yankees acquired Tino Martinez to take over at first base. Mattingly was left unsigned heading into 1996. Although the Baltimore Orioles tried to convince him to sign midseason, he declined. In January 1997, he officially announced his retirement. After his incredible playing career ended, he found a new way to contribute to baseball, this time from the dugout and behind the scenes. His transition from player to coach was smooth and natural, and it was clear from the beginning that he had a mind for the game that went beyond just playing it. Starting in 1997, he became a special instructor for the Yankees during their spring training sessions in Tampa, Florida. For 7 years, he worked closely with young players, passing down the knowledge he had gained over his years as one of the best hitters in the game. His presence alone was enough to inspire players, and his ability to break down the mechanics of hitting made him a valuable asset to the organization. The Yankees took notice of his impact impact. After the 2003 season, they decided to bring him into a more official role, naming him the team's hitting coach. It was a big moment for him, as he was now responsible for shaping the offensive approach of one of the most storied franchises in baseball history. He took the job seriously, and his influence was felt immediately. Under his guidance, the Yankees' offense reached new heights. In 2004, the team set an all-time franchise record by crushing 242 home runs in a single season. It was an incredible achievement, and Mattingly was right at the center of it. He remained in that role for 3 seasons, earning respect not only from the front office, but also from the players he worked with every day. He had a way of connecting with them, understanding what each hitter needed to succeed. He wasn't just coaching, he was mentoring, helping players improve both physically and mentally. Following the 2006 season, his role within the Yankees organization changed once again. He was promoted to bench coach, a position that put him even closer to the managerial side of the game. Now he was working side by side with Joe Torre, learning the ins and outs of leading a team from the dugout. It was another step forward in his baseball journey, and many believed it was only a matter of time before he became a manager himself. That opportunity almost came in 2007, when Joe Torre decided not to accept a 1-year contract extension to remain as Yankees manager. The team had to find a new leader. Mattingly was one of the top candidates, along with Joe Girardi and Tony Pena. Yankees fans were excited about the possibility of seeing Donnie Baseball take over as skipper, but in the end, the team chose Girardi. It was a tough break for Mattingly, but his journey was far from over. Rather than staying with the Yankees in a lesser role, he chose to follow Torre to the West Coast, joining the Los Angeles Dodgers as their hitting coach. It was a new challenge for him, but he embraced it fully. He was no longer just working with the Yankees, the only organization he had ever known. Now he was in a new city with a new team, helping a fresh group of players find success at the plate. His time with the Dodgers was eventful. Initially, he stepped away from his hitting coach duties in early 2008 due to family reasons, instead taking on a role as a special assignment coach. However, by July of that same year, he was back in his familiar role, once again shaping the offense of a big league club. His work paid off as the Dodgers made back-to-back trips to the National League Championship Series in 2008 and 2009. Although they fell short both times, losing to the Philadelphia Phillies, the team's offense was one of its biggest strengths, and Mattingly played a key role in that success. As his coaching career progressed, he continued to attract attention as a future manager. In the off-season following the 2009 season, he was a finalist for the Cleveland Indians' managerial job, though the position ultimately went to Manny Acta. His coaching career took yet another turn in 2022 when he joined the Toronto Blue Jays as their bench coach. It was another fresh start, another opportunity to bring his expertise to a team filled with young talent. Ahead of the 2024 season, the Blue Jays expanded his role, giving him the additional title of offensive coordinator. In this position, he oversaw not only the team's hitting coaches, but also the video coordinators, ensuring that every aspect of the offense was functioning at the highest level. However, following the conclusion of the 2024 season, the team decided to simplify things, returning Mattingly to his original role as bench coach. Despite the shift, his influence within the organization remained strong. His years of experience, both as a player and a coach, made him an invaluable resource for the Blue Jays. His managerial career, too, was a roller coaster ride, just like his playing days. His time as a manager was defined by his passion for the game, his leadership, and his ability to inspire the players around him. When Joe Torre decided to retire at the end of the 2010 season, the Los Angeles Dodgers knew exactly who they wanted to take his place. Mattingly had been preparing for this opportunity for years, learning from one of the best in the business. To gain even more experience before officially stepping into the role, he took on a unique challenge by managing the Phoenix Desert Dogs in the Arizona Fall League in 2010. This gave him a chance to get a feel for managing a team from top to bottom, and it helped prepare him for the next step in his career. His official managerial debut with the Dodgers came on March 31, 2011. It was a special night at Dodger Stadium as his team took on their in-state rivals and the defending World Series champions, the San Francisco Giants. The Dodgers came out on top in a tight game, winning by a score of 2-1. It was the perfect way to start this new chapter, but there were plenty of challenges ahead. Off the field, the Dodgers organization was dealing with major turmoil. The team's owner, Frank McCourt, was going through an ugly and very public divorce battle, which created serious financial uncertainty for the franchise. It was the kind of situation that could have easily distracted the players and made it impossible for the team to succeed. However, he never let any of that chaos affect his clubhouse. He kept his players focused and helped guide them through the uncertainty. The result was a winning season, something that was far from guaranteed given the circumstances. A big reason for the Dodgers' success that year was the development of some of their young young stars. Mattingly had a way of getting the best out of his players, and two of them in particular had incredible seasons under his leadership. Matt Kemp emerged as an MVP candidate, while Clayton Kershaw established himself as one of the most dominant pitchers in baseball, winning his first Cy Young Award. His second year in charge was solid, but it was his third season in 2013 that truly tested him as a manager. The Dodgers were expected to be one of the top teams in baseball, but injuries devastated the roster early in the season. By May, the team had fallen to last place in the division, and the media was filled with speculation that Mattingly's days as manager were numbered. Rather than panicking, he stayed patient and kept his team together. When his key players finally got healthy, the Dodgers went on an incredible run, storming back to win the National League West title. They continued their hot streak in the playoffs, defeating the Atlanta Braves in the National League Division Series in just 4 games. However, their magical run came to an end in the National League Championship Series, where they fell to the St. Louis Cardinals in 6 games. After the season, despite leading his team to the National League Championship Series, Mattingly made headlines when he expressed frustration with Dodgers management. He felt that the organization had not fully supported him throughout the season and made it clear that he wanted a multi-year contract if he was going to continue managing the team. His performance had not gone unnoticed, as he finished second in the voting for National League Manager of the Year. Mattingly had always looked up to great managers from the past, and one of his biggest influences was Tony La Russa. He had admired La Russa's leadership style dating back to his own playing days, when La Russa was managing the powerhouse Oakland Athletics teams of the late 1980s. He respected how those A's teams never took a day off, always playing with intensity no matter the situation. That was the kind of attitude he wanted to instill in his own teams. In early 2014, the Dodgers and Mattingly came to an agreement on a new 3-year contract extension, keeping him in Los Angeles for the foreseeable future. He rewarded the team's faith in him by continuing to lead the Dodgers to success. On September 29, 2015, he accomplished something that no manager in Dodgers history had ever done before. He became the first manager to lead the franchise to 3 straight postseason appearances, a remarkable achievement considering the long and storied history of the team, dating all the way back to its days in Brooklyn. However, despite the regular season success, the Dodgers were unable to make a deep playoff run that year. They lost in the National League Division Series to the New York Mets in 5 games. Shortly after that, on October 22nd, Mattingly and the Dodgers decided to part ways. It was a mutual decision, and although he still had a year left on his contract, both sides felt it was time for a change. His time in Los Angeles ended with an impressive record of 446 wins and 363 losses, giving him a winning percentage of .551, the second best in Los Angeles Dodgers history. While his teams had been consistently strong in the regular season, his postseason record was not as strong, with 8 wins and 11 losses. Still, he left behind a legacy as the first manager in team history to guide them to 3 straight playoff appearances. He did not stay out of work for long. In the fall of 2015, he signed a 4-year contract to become the new manager of the Miami Marlins. His first season with the Marlins was promising, as he led the team to 79 wins, their highest total since 2010. His work did not go unnoticed, as he finished 5th in the voting for National League Manager of the Year. In 2020, he guided the Marlins to an unexpected playoff appearance, leading them to the National League wildcard round. It was a historic moment for the franchise, as it marked their first trip to the postseason since their World Series winning season in 2003. For his efforts, he was recognized as the National League Manager of the Year, adding another major accomplishment to his already impressive resume. His tenure with the Marlins continued for a few more years, and in July 2021, he and the team agreed to pick up his mutual option for the 2022 season. However, by the end of the 2022 season, both Mattingly and the Marlins felt it was time for a change. On September 25, 2022, he announced that he would finish out the year as manager, but would not be returning for the 2023 season. While managing in Major League Baseball was his primary focus, he also took on another exciting challenge in 2018 when he led the MLB All-Star team at the Japan All-Star Series. This was yet another example of how respected he was in the baseball world. And that wraps up today's video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit like and subscribe so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.